Hello friends, it's Julie Norman and I'm back with your next installment of the Planner Contentment Series. This is number 2 of number 3, well, of three in the series, and we're going to talk about planner contentment. And here I've got a few different planners, different styles for you to look at while we talk about this. Now, planner contentment, as we went through last video, is a little bit different than planner peace. Contentment is being content with the system that will work best for you, and we all know that peace doesn't come from a planner. So if you're looking to get a planner and then be peaceful, it's the opposite. It's actually the opposite. You should at first be at peace with yourself and your needs, and then find contentment in your planner. So last week I asked you to write a list of all the things that you really needed to have in your planner and all the things that you wanted to have in your planner, and I will share my list here with you. And here it is, if you can see that. My planner contentment list. So the things that I absolutely need in my planner are my calendar, and I like to have a month, week, and a day. Then we have journaling space, goal setting, vision board, because I want to know why I'm doing all this, and a wellness log. And the things that I would like to have are like a contact list, a mileage log, a meal plan, grocery list, and my book reading list. So those are the icing on the cake, but these are the essentials of what I really, really need. And so if you can get out your list, and if you want to prioritize what are the absolute essentials that you need to function with your planner, and what are the things that you would really like but you can potentially live without them. They're your wants, they are not your needs. Now, what we want to do here is also think about, do I want this all to be carried with me when I go out? Am I going to throw this all in my purse or a bag? Or am I going to rather have maybe 2 different planners? And this is where it starts to get your personality into the planner system. So figure out, which one do I want to carry, do I need, and for me, I know I need my calendar when I go out, because I might do a future planning, especially if I'm going to a medical appointment. They usually set up the next appointment and I want to have my calendar. I probably want my grocery list with, and if maybe my contacts, I don't know. So there's a few things. I probably want my journaling, because I might get an idea when I'm out as well. So those are some things that I might want to carry with me, but for sure the things that can stay home would be something like my books read list, my meal plan. I don't really need that with me if I already have a grocery list off of that. I don't need my vision board with, but some of these will cross over, because your vision board may be a part of your bigger picture too. So prioritize, what do I absolutely need to leave the house with? Maybe I have things for school, kids' schedules, work, and appointments, errands. What is it that you go out and that you might need? So then think about, what can I leave at home? So if you have an all-in-one system, it's one bound book, you just carry it with the whole thing with. But if you have something more flexible, like the planner's notebook, the traveler's notebook that I have, or like a disc bound or a ring bound, you can separate things, or you can have 2 different books. So think about what is going to work for you. Everybody is going to be different here. We all have our different priorities and our different things that we like to have on hand when we go out. Now, when you think about all this, one key thing is to keep it simple. Because if it feels like you have all of this, maybe your list is longer than mine here, that you want to make sure that it's not overwhelming, that it is not complicated or feels like a burden. Because if it does, then you're doing it a little too much. And that is where the planner piece starts to come into place, where you have to balance the things you absolutely need with your personality, your habits, and your time that you have as well. And that comes into what I want to talk to you about. It's called the fantasy self. And the fantasy self is something that you think you really want. You have this vision. Maybe you got it on a Pinterest board or you saw it on social media. But you have this vision of what you think your planner life should look like. And let me show you what mine is. What mine was, actually, until I got clear on this. And that is to have these beautiful vertical spreads in these bound books. They are so beautiful, and everything is all lined up. I just did a mock-up here. It's not a real one. And, it just looks so pretty, and it looks so organized. And if I had this, I felt that I would be so organized. But the reality is, seeing this, I am uninspired. I don't, I'm like, well, okay, that's the things I have to do, but it just feels flat and lifeless to me. For some people, they would thrive on this. So this is how each of us are different. They would be like, oh, I've got a list. I have to do it because then I get to check it off or whatever, or cross it off. And if you're motivated that way, something like this would be great. But for me, as you've seen in my videos, that I really enjoy the scripting method, where when I write things out, it's a sentence or a phrase, and it's coaching myself through it, and it is encouraging myself. So that is how I know that I like. So now I have by the time you see this, I'll probably be at my dentist appointment. So there you go. See, peek into my life. So that is my fantasy self of my planner. And so let's think about this. Is there an image in your head of your fantasy self that you have aspired to, that you're trying to do, but you just, every time you try it just doesn't work? If that is the case, then open up your journal, take a blank piece of paper, and write, my fantasy self is, and then for me I would say, is to have a beautifully organized planner, linear, whatever, and write what that is, and then say, but the reason why this isn't working for me is because this. And then you start writing and let your brain flow onto the paper of why that is not working for you. And it could be that maybe you don't have the money for it, so you have to reduce your needs or your wants to something that'll still work for you. Maybe it is just something that you don't have time for, because Planner Perfect, the scripting method, does take time. I take some time to do this every day. Maybe you don't have the time to do it, or perhaps it just doesn't fit your personality, your style, of the way that you truly at the core like to work. You're trying to force yourself into a system that just isn't for you. So that is laying aside, figuring out what your fantasy self is, what you really need to do, and then after you've written out all that stuff, put your pen down, let it go. If it's something that really is your fantasy self, let it go. And now figure out, going forward, what is realistic, and so you can be content with your planner system. So, I would like to hear below what your fantasy self is as well, and how that has changed. And another thing to think about is this stage in life that you're at right now, where I'm at right now, will change. And right now we're in the pandemic phase where a lot of people are at home. So right now I can spend more time doing journaling. I'm juggling quite a few different planners. This is not one I'm juggling, but it's just an example of planners. But if I was really busy, if I was still traveling on the road doing my yarn wrap business, I probably wouldn't have time to do all this. I need to be very portable. So does that mean that I wouldn't be content with my planner at that point? Well, actually not. At the core of it, I'm still this kind of planner gal. I'm still the journaling, the scripting person at heart. So this is my core, and everything else, all these other things, are just frosting on the cake. And they come and go. So be at your core, be content with what you have, and when you have time, maybe you can branch off into something when the time is right. So I hope that you learned a little bit about that. Next week we're going to talk about, after we figure out what do we need, what do we want to how are we going to function with this? Are we going to go out with it? Are we going to leave it at home? And are you going to do digital, which is totally fine because we probably have our phones with us all the time too. I am going to be, of course, focusing on the paper one. So after all this, now how do you plug that into a planner system? So we'll talk about different planner systems, why they're good for different people, situations, and find one that will work for you. So thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate you coming along with this series. And do follow the link above for the whole set. And also, yes, I am using a different camera today. This is my second take because the first one was so blurry. But and I'm also using a different video what do you call those things? Editing thing. So why not throw everything together at once and do everything new? So do let me know if you have trouble seeing things or hearing things because it is all new and I am learning. So thank you for your patience and for your support. I appreciate every one of you. Have a joyful day.